Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome once again to Gigabyte Podcast. My name's Ivan Colon El Giga. If you haven't done so yet, you can follow me on social media, El Giga 947, and please subscribe to the podcast. This is my second all-English podcast. We'll be talking about a lot of things going on in the gaming industry. We're going to talk about WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and a bunch of other stuff that's been going on the last couple of weeks. Sorry I haven't published another English, all-English podcast. I've been really swamped with work, and I'm going to try to be a little bit more consistent, but I'm going to try to at least do one a week. So just stay in touch if you like it in English or in Spanish. Either way, please subscribe, and I want to hear your comments. So let's start with something that happened this week, and it's really not that big of a surprise. And the big news is that the ESA, and this is the organization that handles everything that goes on with the gaming industry in the States, especially E3. If you've heard about the show, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, it used to be the biggest gaming event in the world, one of the most important events where press and media could meet and try different games coming out, meet the developers, see new hardware coming out, new software. It was a really exciting show. I attended 16 E3s during my career, covering the video game industry. And last year, even before the coronavirus, a lot of companies were pulling out of E3. PlayStation has done it for the past couple of years. Xbox, even though they had a presence next door to the actual LA Convention Center, they weren't really in the show per se. Nintendo had a mildly presence. The different press conferences, they were being basically shipped elsewhere, or they were being done digitally like Nintendo's. It really changed a lot in the last couple of years. The last E3 I went to 2 years ago, before the pandemic, it really felt weird. It was really difficult to get all the news you usually got at E3. I did my TV show back then. I still do. We're right now in Telemundo, Saturdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we usually we usually use E3 to do at least 4 to 5 shows, and we would publish them in the subsequent weeks after the show. So we had best of the game, best of show. We kind of went over what happened on the different press conferences or the press briefings from Nintendo, Xbox, EA, Ubisoft, and all these companies. But really, last year was really the year before, 2019. It was really difficult to get all the news you needed. There wasn't really much going on. It kind of felt like a transition year. Obviously, both PlayStation and Xbox were planning their new consoles. A lot of studios just weren't there. So even though we did get some good coverage from the show, it wasn't what I've seen for the past 15 years. So when this just got announced that they're trying to do a digital event where they're going to have 2-hour keynote briefings, supposedly by some of the big companies present at the event, I don't really know how well this is going to work out, at least for this year. Seeing as the success in 2020 that Sony had with their state of plays. Xbox had great success also with their digital presentations, and the Ubisoft they did a great job presenting their own things, so by themselves and not having to at their own time. They're not competing against anybody else. So I think it's a little bit better if you do it by yourself, unless you're a smaller company and you need the support from one of the big manufacturers. In that case, they can do all kinds of things. You can be in one of the PlayStation or Xbox briefings if you want to really highlight one of your games, even if it's coming out multi-platform. Nintendo has been doing the Nintendo Direct for years, so they're already out. So it begs to differ. You really have to think what are they gonna do? Like who's gonna be at E3? Last year, a lot of the companies weren't showing up, and they just flat out canceled it. Even Jeff Keighley, who used to be a major part of all these E3 press conferences and all these events at E3, he basically split, and he did his Summer Game Fest, and it was pretty well organized for what we had last year. Apparently, he's gonna have a similar event this year, which would be great. Like he actually tweeted out in the Summer Game Fest Twitter, "New year, new colors." So just like a different logo. I really like what he does. I think what he's done for the gaming industry has been huge, especially if you think about what he's done with the Game Awards. And I gotta be honest, like before Jeff Keighley took over doing an actual award show for gaming, everything that came in before that, it was just pandering to I don't know, to like the casual gamer. It kind of felt like one of those MTV awards that they're not really awards. It's more like a show. And I think the industry needed this, at least in the States. We know they have BAFTA in Europe, but at least in the States, I think it needed a serious event, a serious fun event that has been growing amazingly in size. Like this year, I think he had like 80 million viewers, if I'm correct. But I think that's a better option, or even like singular events by each one of the companies. That's something that I think will change the gaming industry, at least from a media standpoint and from a news standpoint. It was really difficult last year. Obviously, the pandemic was one of the things that really affected everything going on in the gaming world. Every time news got delayed for PlayStation 5 news, Xbox news, game releases, all these different delays for games like The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, and further down the road with Halo Infinite. It was a really difficult year, even though as a whole, I gotta say, 2020 was an awesome year for gaming. Even though it wasn't the best year in the world, and it was difficult for literally everybody around the globe. We did see a lot of great games released. Like I mentioned, I mean, The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima. We had Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I love. Even from the beginning of the year with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which was amazing. And you got all these great games that come out this year. You have the launch of 2 new consoles, actually 3 new consoles with the both versions of the Xbox, and it was a successful year as a gamer from all the great content that just came out. So 2021 looks like a great year. I'm not surprised at all that E3 is going to be skipping a physical event with everything that's going on worldwide. But even if that wasn't an issue, I think they'd still go all digital, or at least it will be a radically different show than what we've seen recently. Now, do they really have enough to merit an event? Who knows, man? I hope so. I really enjoy E3. Like I said, I would have been to my 16th show, if I'm not mistaken, last year, and I really miss it. I really like hanging out with the devs, talking face to face with a lot of people that you usually just contact via email. It really helps you out when you're planning out your coverage and you're trying to bring news to the people, to your followers or to your audience. So it's kind of bittersweet, because I know it's going to be easier for the companies to get more info in, and it's going to be spread out. It's not going to be like a massive week and a half of just blazing news every couple of hours. I mean, it's as a gamer, I know a lot of people dreamt about going to E3, and at least I had the chance working in media to take some people with me that helped me out during the event. A couple of my friends, co-workers, my wife, she went with me, I think, 3 times. And actually, last year I was gonna take my kid. I have a 2-year-old boy, and I was gonna take him with me to see, just to travel to LA, go to Disney, do the whole thing. Unfortunately, obviously that didn't happen, and it looks like a long shot that this type of, at least an E3 type of event, will be held in the next couple of years. So that's kind of sad, from my end. It's all the pageantry of E3. It's going to be lost, and it doesn't matter how cool you can make a press conference. It's not the same thing. Like at these type of events, you usually get a chance to try out some titles that might surprise you, might become sleeper hits, or just plain get a different view for what's going on with different titles. I remember a couple of years ago, I interviewed some of the devs for Dreams. I'm a big Little Big Planet fan, so I got a chance to interview them, and that was, I think, was the first PlayStation experience, if I'm not mistaken. And we spoke for like an hour and a half. It was supposed to be like a 10-15 minute interview, and we just kept talking about the game and all the different possibilities that they were exploring for the title. So it was, as a gamer and as a media personality, it's really fun to do that. It's you get a different perspective when you actually get to talk to the devs. And even though you can do like Zoom calls and get interviews and talk to people, it's not the same as really getting a feel for the person right next to you, or just hanging out at one of these Xbox parties or PlayStation parties or whatever. You get to meet a lot of cool people, even the PR people that handle my side of the business. It's really cool to like see them every year and just hang out, just go out and say hi. People you're emailing throughout the year, and then you can meet face to face. So it's kind of bittersweet, like I said. Hopefully we're gonna get a lot of news this year. Everybody should be more prepared for just handling their scheduling of their info dumps. Every time they're gonna throw out some info for their new games or a new service or some changes to PSN or Xbox Live or whatever, they're gonna have a chance to communicate directly with their fans. So that should be great. It's just something is gonna be missing without E3. And even though some of the other shows might go on, like Tokyo Game Show on Gamescom, I still don't think it's going to be the same. It's going to change. It is going to be a different generation of game coverage. So basically, what I have for those of you who this is their first or second podcast, if you don't speak Spanish, I usually every week I do a couple of live streams where I take questions. I record different podcasts, and I do it on video, and I talk about what everybody wants to talk about. I answer questions live, and I just hang out with you guys for a couple hours. So that's something I do. If you're interested in doing this in English, let me know, and we can set a date. And once we get the ball rolling, I can start doing lives in English to answer your questions and just have some fun. Talk about games, talk about movies, talk about Marvel and DC and Star Wars and all these great things that keep popping up every week, apparently. So some other things going on besides the whole E3 thing, which I think is going to be huge. It's going to be like a really game-changing thing, not having E3 for a second straight year. So some of the other things going on, I know everybody's trying to get their hands on PlayStation 5s and Xbox. Series X and S. Even the different graphics card, the 30 series from Nvidia, the new graphics cards from AMD, and bad news. Uh, Apparently, there's a semiconductor shortage worldwide, and it should be steadily. It should maintain this slow course that we've had for the last couple of weeks, at least till the second half of the year. Microsoft already told. They actually commented on it, and they said they before they had said that they expect shortages for the new Xbox consoles at least till April. Right now, they bumped that up to June. So it's a fluid situation. PlayStation 5 is really hard to come by. I know people are really mad at scalpers. So am I. And but please try to not buy the console above retail price. That'll just keep giving them. That's just gas to the fire, you know. But some of the new things that could help. At least Sony said they plan to have at least almost 15 million units for the next fiscal year, which begins April 1st until March 31st on 2022. So that should be a lot of consoles. Obviously, they've already sold 4.5 million consoles, and that's I think it was ending of January, if I'm not mistaken. So we should get soon. We should get a clearer picture of how well this console is selling. But right now, at least it's doing it as well as the PS4. So if you take that into perspective, PS4 is the second best-selling home console ever, behind the PS2. So it's in good company right now. Also, Microsoft said it's probably their best launch for any of their systems. Even though we don't have like concrete information about sales numbers for the Xbox, they do. They have said that what I just said, that it's their best selling, at least their best starting up, their best console right out of the gates. So that's good. That's great for the industry. It's great for competition. Who knows how many units they've sold? There was an unconfirmed source that actually said they're about a million and a half behind PlayStation 5. So they should be in the three point something range, maybe a little bit less, and that's still good. We're not getting a bunch of consoles at once in stores. So the restocks have been really slow coming out, and I know a lot of people are desperate, but I just talked to a friend of mine today. He told me, I'm thinking about buying the Xbox. There's this dude, he has it for $700, and I told him, listen, try not to buy from a scalper. And I'm sorry if any scalpers are listening, but really, you don't know how you're gonna deal with if you have a warranty issue, if it's defective, and really you shouldn't be paying so much for a console. Just wait for it. And also with the graphics cards, and that's that's a whole different monster, because usually these like Nvidia graphics cards or AMD graphics cards, these high-end cards, they don't ship as many numbers as consoles do. So they should be even more scarce to try to and get them. They're more expensive usually, and they're for a different market. So I know a lot of people are looking for the cards. And they'll eventually find them. They're beast. So I don't think you should hurry to buy one. Like if it's really being bumped up in price by scalpers or whatever. Just stand your ground. You'll get one eventually. So shortages are gonna be a problem for probably the rest of the year, maybe even further down the road. And even though I know a lot of people that are getting the console, each console, I've gotten a lot of messages from in Instagram. Um, People just saying, "Listen, I heard your podcast. I went out. I actually got a console. They had like 4 left, and it's just pure luck. They're trying to fight this whole scalper thing with the bots. It's going to be an uphill battle, but a lot of people are getting the console. Just be patient. Eventually, you'll get it, and eventually the manufacturing woes will iron out, and you're gonna get a chance to get a system. There gonna be more systems out in the wild soon, hopefully. Even though these semiconductor problems are gonna persist, you're still gonna have a shot to get the console. So don't overpay. There are a lot of good games coming out. Not a lot right now. I mean, I'm really happy with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. But yeah, I'm playing basically the same games for both consoles. I finished Spider-Man. I've been playing Call of Black Ops Cold War on PS5 with a couple of friends of mine. I've been playing Valhalla and a bunch of other games that have been coming out. But yeah, there's not a huge, massive amount of games available right now that really take advantage of both systems. Even though the backwards compatibility stuff is great, like the God of War update. If you're playing on Xbox, the Gears of War really shines in the console. But still, I mean, there's no need to hurry. Extra $200-$300, you can spend that on good pair of headphones, or maybe pony off for a new TV if you're really looking to get the full next gen experience. I actually bought a couple of weeks ago the LG CX. That's possibly the top TV right now for Xbox and PS5. I mean, you get excellent HDR, 120 hertz. Every port, it has 4 HDMI ports. They're all 2.1, so you're future proof basically. It has Video G-Sync. It's got a bunch of features. It's an awesome TV. It's beautiful, and it's amazingly thin. I've never seen a TV that thin before. And last year, I saw the TV at CES, and I just saw it. I'm like, I'm never gonna have a TV that's that thin. It was just, it looked like something out of my price range. And luckily, yeah, it's my job, and I had a chance to get it. So yeah, and so right now I'm really enjoying it. But there are a lot of other options. I always get questions about TVs for the new consoles, and the reality is, if you really want to take advantage of like every nook and cranny that is on your console right now, you're gonna need a heavyweight TV like the LG CX. But it really doesn't matter. You can have any TV with HDMI that can output 720p. You can play on PS5 and Xbox, so you don't have to worry about that at all. Further down the road, when you're able to, you can buy a better TV. I actually did the whole. I bought the CX because this is my job. I actually review games for a living, so I really wanted to get the best TV available. But I know in a couple of months, maybe a year and a half, we're gonna get a lot better TVs, probably cheaper, more options, even for monitors. I've been getting a lot of questions about monitors, and LG and I think Samsung or Asus, they announced new HDMI 2.1 compatible monitors that really cater to the new consoles. So they won't be cheap, but they are coming out. So as soon as different models come out that really cater to these new consoles, there's going to be a bunch of other companies trying to get in on the action. So there's going to be a price war, and prices go down. Technology gets better, so it's going to be better for the consumer. So my advice: hold up a little bit, unless you really want to go for it right now. But if it's something that you're kind of iffy, if you want to upgrade right now your TV, you really don't have to right now. You can hold off, and then get a better deal down the road. Maybe in some of these companies like Vizio and all the different Roku TVs, HTC, TCL, and whatever. All these companies start putting out less expensive TVs that really take advantage of the consoles. You're gonna be golden. You're gonna have a massive amount of content or models you can choose from, and just enjoy your PS5 or your Xbox. So that's another one of the things I wanted to talk about. I mean, everybody's asking about the TVs. I know there's a lot of questions. Next up, I got to talk about WandaVision a little bit. I know a lot of people are watching it. It was. I don't remember which episode. I think the first 2 episodes came out when I did the first English podcast. Right now, we're up to the 5th episode. We're past the halfway point. I'm not gonna be speaking about. I'm not gonna mention spoilers, so don't worry if you haven't seen the series yet. I'm just gonna do a little overview. I mean, I don't. I think a lot of people that are not huge Marvel fans are still gonna get a kick out of WandaVision. It's fun. It's weird. It's creepy sometimes. It's kind of disturbing, some of the things that like all the little nods you get and all these fourth wall breaking moments. It's really I don't know. It kind of reminds me a little bit about like at the beginning of Stranger Things, where you know something's wrong, but you really don't know what's wrong. You know, they do that really well, and I gotta say, like Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, they're doing a great job. Not just in their classical Vision and Scarlet Witch roles, but when they're playing to the different eras they go to. We've all seen the trailers. If you haven't seen the show, you know they take a lot of inspiration from the 50s sitcoms, 60s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and so on. And they actually they feel like they're people from those actual sitcoms. It's really well thought out. I mean, Marvel's doing an excellent job. Just building this universe, and that keeps expanding exponentially. Like every new property that comes out, be it a series or a movie or just a short or anything that comes out, it's just amazing. And you got to give props to Kevin Feige. I mean, he's done something that nobody's ever done before in movie history, like uniting this type of universe and creating something cohesive, something that transcends just one genre. It's not just superhero movies. It's they try to do different things with every movie, with every one of the movies, man. If you look back to since Iron Man 1, all the way up to Spider-Man Far From Home, and even WandaVision, you can see different genres explored. They have comedy, they have action, they have suspense, they have actual weighty decisions that some of the characters have to take. It's just an amazing thing that Feige has done. You really have to take your hat off to him. I mean, since I was a kid, I always thought, when I used to love comics when I was growing up, and I saw movies, and I'm like, I don't get why they don't do like an X-Men movie or an Avengers movie. I mean, they have infinite resources that they can use in talking about characters and situations for decades that have come out with the comics. And if an actor gets too old or you want to kill him off, the character, you can just swap them out. I mean, the Fantastic Four are the Fantastic Four, and they don't change much during their whole stay in the Marvel universe. But like the X-Men, they constantly change. They have different leaders, different members. Same with the Avengers and the Defenders and all these different superhero teams. They usually swap people out constantly. So if somebody doesn't work out or an actor leaves, like say Hugh Jackman, he's not playing Wolverine anymore. You can take him out and put in another character like Deadpool or I don't know, anybody else, and you can just switch them out. So you have an eternal pool that you can keep swirling and moving around, and it's just impressive that what they've done. Really, I gotta say, I'm really impressed. If you haven't seen WandaVision yet, now I think it's right now is a great time to get on it. The first couple of episodes, not much happens, but you get a feel that something's wrong. After the third episode, that's when you start getting a little bit more information about what actually is going on. And the last two episodes, 4 and 5, have been amazing. So really looking forward to ending the series. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, after WandaVision, like we have 4 episodes left, so it should be ending by the first week of March, first Friday of March. And 2 weeks after that, we actually get the start of the next Marvel series, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that looks really good. I gotta say, when Disney announced all the different projects they had for Disney Plus and the different movies that are coming out, like Black Widow and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and all these different movies coming out, one of the things that I was least excited for was the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I have no problems with either of the characters. I think it looks great. It just looks normal. I don't know if you get my drift, but if you look at the other shows that they've announced, like Loki looks bonkers, looks awesome and weird. What If was one of my favorite comic series that Marvel ever put out. All these alternate alternate classic storylines and told from a different perspective by the watcher, and they're doing it animated, and they're gonna have most of the actors that portray the actual characters in the MCU. They're gonna provide their voice for these characters. I think that sounds amazing. I'm a huge fan of Moon Knight. I'm really curious about what they're gonna do with She-Hulk. They also have the Hawkeye series. They have a bunch of stuff coming out, and for whatever reason, Falcon and Winter Soldier always looked, at least to me, it always looked like just a basic action series. But the new trailer that came out during the Super Bowl, they had like a 30-second spot, and then they put out online. They put out like the full trailer. It's like a 2 minute, 2 minute and a half trailer, and it looks great. It looks like awesome Marvel MCU goodness. So I'm dying to see it. It has a week after we finish WandaVision, so they're gonna give us a shot to take everything in and then start the new series. So I think it's great, man. I'm really excited about this year. Last year, we 2020, the pandemic and all the productions shutting down, we didn't really get many superhero movies, and that's unfortunate because after Endgame and Spider-Man, I really wanted to see Black Widow. I really wanted to see where this universe is going, but who knows how well Black Widow is going to do the transition from the classic MCU, the previous phases, to enter Phase 4. So I think WandaVision is doing a great job. I'm certainly looking forward to Black Widow. Everything I've seen from that movie looks amazing. I don't want to see anything more. I just want to see the movie. So whenever it comes out, I'm gonna be excited to see it. Even if it's on Disney Plus or if they're gonna put it out in theaters. Right now, I'm not really going to movies a lot, although I've been invited to a couple of press screenings, and they're more contained. So I've been going to a bunch of those recently. But still, I want to see Black Widow. So yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Looks great. Looks fun. Um, I think it's gonna be great. But out of everything that have been shown from the MCU, coming out to Disney Plus, that was probably my least anticipated series, and it still looks great. So there you go. That's Kevin Feige for you. Now, I don't want to go too long. Last time, I think I overstayed my welcome for I don't know, like I went for almost an hour. So I just want to touch up on a couple of things, real quick before we part ways. Well, like I said, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the podcast, Gigabyte Podcast. I want to know your opinion. What you want me to talk about on the podcast. It's gonna be gaming. It's gonna be tech. It's gonna be pop culture. So I won't stray that far away from that. But if you want something specific that you want me to cover, just let me know, and I will. So I gotta say before I pass the page with WandaVision, that ending for the fifth episode, it could have huge repercussions for the MCU, and I'm really excited for what could be coming up. If you haven't seen it yet, like I said, you're in spoiler territory. Not with me. I won't spoil anything, but you should watch it, man. It's something that I don't know. Just go and watch it. If you have Disney Plus, enjoy yourself. Go watch it, and there you go. Now, I talked about the sales numbers for the PS4 and PS5, especially the PS5 with a 4.5 million units sold during the first, I think, 6 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. But another lifetime goal was announced this past week, and it's the Nintendo Switch, with overtook the 3DS, and right now it's up to 79.87 million consoles sold worldwide. Of these consoles, 74 million are in hands of consumers, but that's probably surpassed a long time ago. This is a week-old article, so one of the things that really impresses me about the Switch, and it's right now it's sitting at 80 million. It's the fifth best-selling Nintendo console, and right behind that, you have the Game Boy Advance at 81.5 million. So they probably already passed that. The Game Boy, the original Game Boy, with 118.7 million units. Well, that should have been before. The Wii, actually, Nintendo Wii sold 101 million units. Then the Game Boy with 118 million units. And the second best-selling console of all time, the Nintendo DS with 154 million. Now, I've been getting questions left and right about when Nintendo's going to release Switch Pro. It's the question I always get, or a successor to the Switch. Really, I don't think they should be in any kind of hurry to release a new console. They're obviously selling really well. The last 2 years, they've been the best-selling console, even better than PlayStation 4, Xbox, or even the new consoles. So they're selling everything they put out. They haven't really put out a bunch of games recently. They had the great success, the successful Animal Crossing launch, over 30 million units sold. It's one of the best-selling Nintendo games of all time, at least on the console. And it's really impressive what they've done. But I've said this before. One of the big problems Nintendo had on previous generations, they were getting spread too thin. Creating games for a home console and a portable console, and one of the two systems was going to suffer from basically no titles coming out for long periods of time. Right now, when they consolidated the console, the hybrid console, I think it's I think they should not change that strategy ever again. and I don't think the market holds two systems. And with Nintendo, I think most people prefer their portable consoles when they think about Nintendo, mostly because of that younger demographic. But just the having a great Nintendo game on the go is nothing short of amazing. So I think it's the best thing they could have done. If they would have released two consoles, a portable and a home console, I really think the home console was not going to be successful unless they really put out something amazing. But you could see it last generation with the 3DS. It really wasn't a great, an amazing selling system like some of the other Nintendo consoles before it. The Wii U was a flat out failure for Nintendo. And they basically said, you know what? Let's just do one system. You can take it on the go. You can use it on your TV. It's not going to be as powerful as the competition. It doesn't matter. If you look at the whole history of gaming, usually the strongest console is not the highest selling console. It out of every generation, I think the only system that, at least when it launched, was more powerful than the competition and actually outsold the competition was the PS4. At least in the modern era. And I've always said that, man. It's people always talk about power, and obviously if you have a more powerful console, you can probably get better results from your games, better gameplay, better graphics, and everything in between. You can possibly get new experiences by having a stronger, more powerful console with different hardware, different features. We're seeing it right now with the new consoles with ray tracing at the SSDs, the 3D audio on the PS5. But really, at the end of the day, you can make a good game on a calculator if you wanted to. A good game is a good game. It doesn't matter what system it's on. If it's on PC, if it comes out of consoles or on mobile, it really doesn't matter. A good game's a good game, man. I still play some older titles from old systems. I still enjoy Metal Gear. I love Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, Secret of Mana. Some of my favorite all-time games are old games. But yeah, Nintendo doesn't have to do anything right now. If they do want to bring out a new system, I would say it would probably arrive maybe 2022, probably 2023, or at least late 2022. And don't expect a huge upgrade. Maybe a Switch Pro, or maybe a new console, just a straight up follow-up console to the Switch. They probably learned a lot about naming their console with the Wii and the Wii U, which was an amazingly huge mistake. Also, probably the 3DS and the DS. People don't really get a sense for which one's a new console or whatever. If you could see how many questions I had when the Wii U came out, people asking if it's a new controller for the Wii, if it's the same console. It just wasn't a clear message. And I think a little bit of that is happening with the Xbox, with all the naming, the Xbox Series X, S, the Xbox One S, One X. It gets confusing for most of the gaming population that just goes out and buys games, and they're not 24/7 listening to podcasts or going to YouTube or just reading everything that comes out every week, every day. Most of the people are just playing in their free time. It's just a hobby for most people. So you can't expect them to know everything straight up. But still, yeah, the Switch is doing great. They're definitely, I think they will get to 100 million units. If you look at all the Nintendo systems, 154 for the DS, 118 for the Game Boy, 101 for the Nintendo Wii, and a Game Boy Advance with 81.5. That's already they already passed that. I bet they already passed that. They were barely a million units behind. Seeing these type of numbers, I think that the Switch, I don't think it's gonna reach the DS. I don't think it's gonna reach 154 million units, but it's probably gonna be similar to what PS4 is gonna end up with, possibly close to 120-ish, between 120, maybe 115 to 130 million. That kind of seems like a round number for the Switch, depending on what they do. If they bring out the new system sooner, it'll probably kill the Switch sales rather quickly, unless it's something radically different that they can coexist. Then that could help the Switch reach a higher number of lifetime sales. But I don't think it's gonna happen. Every time Nintendo launches a new console, their previous consoles don't last that long. Inside the same space, they simply don't manufacture a bunch of systems. They're very calculated with what they launch, and they're, like I said, they can't spread themselves too thin, producing games or creating games for two systems rather than one. So once they move to a single system again with a new system, I think the Switch might have a year after that while they sell out all the stock they have, but it's not going to be a foregone conclusion that they're going to sell 130 million units. They might, but it depends on when a new system comes out, and depends what type of system comes out after the Switch. Even if they do have like backwards compatibility, I don't think that's going to be the case. Maybe with digital titles, and maybe it could have a card slot. But one of the major changes I think Nintendo has to do, they need to put in some type of fast storage, some type of SSD inside the system that can compete at least a little bit with what the PS5 and the Xbox have. That's going to be really expensive for them, so I don't know how far they're willing to go. But eventually, third-party games are going to be made with the SSD in mind, and that's going to happen to PC players too. Like if you don't have a decent rig with a fast SSD, you're going to be left behind eventually. Most of the third-party AAA titles are made with consoles in mind, and when you have the SSD and you start to see different advantages to creating games using the SSD, if you still have a slow mechanical hard drive or a slower storage solution, it probably won't work on your system. And even though the Switch has sold 80 million units and their games are selling great, third-party games don't really make a dent on Nintendo systems. Some of them do. They do have some successful games, third-party games in their system, on their systems, but nobody buys a Switch to play third-party games. Everybody buys a Switch to play Nintendo first-party titles, and then some of the third-party things coming out, like for example, Monster Hunter. But if you just wanted to play Nintendo games, that's what the system's for. But they do need some help from third parties because, like I said, they usually have these droughts that last months, even maybe a year, where you get very few titles, just a trickle of games coming out by Nintendo. And the Switch was helped out by the failure of the Wii U. So we had a bunch of games like Mario Kart 8, Splatoon that were retrofitted to look like newer games on the Switch. Even Zelda Breath of the Wild was supposed to be a Wii U game, and then it was pushed out on the Switch. So they had a decent number of games that they could take from the previous generation, repackage them, maybe add some things and make some changes, and have some content that probably wouldn't have arrived till years afterwards on the Switch. So Right now they're on a slow pace. They're releasing the new Mario Bowser game, the Mario 3D World, which I don't love, but I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. And let's see what comes up afterwards. We know they're developing Metroid Prime 4, which I'm dying to get, but it looks like it's a far away title, and obviously the sequel for Breath of the Wild. So let's see what they do. They're probably gonna launch some classic games. This year's I think the 35th anniversary for Zelda 2. So we're probably going to see a collection, Legend of Zelda collection, which I would love to see. If you ever had a GameCube, they released a disc in the 2000s that had a bunch of Zelda games. They had the first two Zelda games, and it also had, I don't even know what other games it had. I think it was Ocarina, and it had Ocarina, Master Quest, and Majora's Mask. So it had these 4 titles, and I think it had like a demo for the game. But that's all conjecture. We don't know what they're going to do. They usually do launch some collections or some remasters that should be coming out. I wish they would release Wind Waker, which came out on Wii U, an HD version, and was beautiful. I love that game. That's my favorite Zelda game. So that's basically what I think about the Nintendo situation. They're doing great. No need to rush a system. And, well, that's basically it, people. It's I wasn't going to do an hour, but it's been 51 minutes. So thanks a lot for everybody who stuck by. I hope you like the podcast. If you do, please subscribe. Let me know your comments, what you think, what I can change, some topics you want me to cover. Today we covered a bunch of stuff. We talked about PlayStation, Xbox, WandaVision. We talked about Winter Soldier, the MCU, and we talked a bit about Nintendo. So there's a lot of stuff coming out soon. I'm going to start doing reviews too on the English podcast. So thanks a lot for your time. Like I said, please subscribe. You can follow me on social media, El Giga 947, and like I always say in Spanish, let's keep on gaming. See you later, guys.